if our happiness is dependent on wealth or achieving wealth and only wanting wealth. Wealth and the process of achieving it takes up a lot of time, takes up our youth, takes away our time from our family, takes away time from everything. And lots of sacrifices such as health, mental peace, and lots of sacrifices. We can even go off the deep end to achieve wealth, to do negative actions, things that break the law. And then when we actually achieve the wealth is unstable. We can lose it any time, the shares can go down, etc., etc. So all the energy we put into achieving wealth and then actually achieving it requires so many causes, and the causes themselves are impermanent. Therefore, if we base our happiness on wealth and achieving it, and the process of achieving it, we will definitely suffer very badly. We will suffer constantly while we're trying to achieve it. When we achieve it, we will suffer, and when we achieve it, there's no guarantee that we will be able to keep it. And the minute we lose it, or there's a sign of losing it, we run to temples, we run to lamas, we run to divinations, we run to bomos, we run to magicians, we run to fortune tellers, we run to anybody who can save our wealth. And in the process, we suffer, and then when we actually lose it, we suffer even more. Some extremely. So when our happiness is dependent on wealth and achieving it and the process of it, from beginning to the middle to the end, it's total suffering. Total suffering. Mental, physical, environmental, outer, inner, constantly. And our ignorance is pervasive and very strong to say that if we achieve that, we have happiness. Yet if we look around, people who are actually wealthy, how many of them are deeply at peace or have happiness in their minds? And when they have it, after they lose it, how do they feel? And that is the process of life. One day you will definitely lose it. If not in time, definitely at death. When you're born naked with nothing in your hands. Is a sign you could not take anything from your previous lives. So, when we think about it carefully, when we think about it constructively and from a right angle, all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. Empty of inherent existence does not mean empty of existence. It means empty of the way we perceive it exists. Therefore, when we check something, when we look at something, we have attachment towards something, it itself does not exist the way we perceive. Example, wealth does not provide happiness. But we have a wrong perception that it does. We follow that. We run after that. And it's not that we don't achieve wealth and we become unhappy. It is the wrong perception that it brings happiness and believing it. And when it does not bring happiness, we suffer. So it's not the wealth that makes us suffer or losing it that makes us suffer. It is a wrong perception, the ignorant perception of what we think it can do for us when we get it. So it's the motive and the process that makes us suffer. Our wrong perception, our idealization that make us suffer. Not the wealth, not losing it, not achieving it. So like that, with these two examples, we can plant those examples to everything around us and everything that has happened in our lives that has so-called disappointed us. It is our wrong projection and wrong attachment to it. It is not the object itself. So therefore, all objects are free of inherent existence. Inherent existence means existing on its own without causes. If wealth can exist on its own without any causes, definitely can bring us happiness because it will be permanent. So if something can exist on its own without dependency on causes, it will be permanent. If these things are permanent, it will bring happiness. Since wealth comes up under the classification of impermanent phenomena, our grasping at it being permanent when it is not makes us suffer. Like when we meet someone new, we have a projection, this person is kind, compassionate, honest, will be loyal, and then when we found out later they are not, it is not that they are not and they are like that that makes us suffer. It is our wrong projection of that person and what we feel they should be like, and they didn't fit our projection. It is our wrong projection of that person or that phenomenon that we have suffered, not that person. So we go on ignorantly blaming other people, other situations, other things. And from that wrong projection and wrong perception, we shout, we scream, we hurt, we use harsh words, we kill, we steal, we lie, commit sexual misconduct, we use schismatic speech, we put others down. It is from that wrong perception we do all those negative types of actions. Those negative types of actions definitely will bear fruit. Since its roots is negative, of course the sprout or the result will be negative. So the items, the things that makes us suffer is not realizing that things do not inherently exist on its own. Inherent. Things do not exist inherently on its own. That old phenomenon is impermanent. It is our stubbornness not to accept that fact and to put more into it than it is. It is our stubbornness to have the wrong projection toward an object of the five senses, and it not fitting our projections the way we think it should be, that makes us suffer. And the worst part of it is that we do not have enough wisdom, clarity of mind, meditational powers, and penetrating wisdom to actually see an object for what it really is. Therefore, we are stuck with two problems. Wrong perception due to delusional mind, due to wrong mind. Wrong perception, number one. Number two, a grasping at the wrong projected perception. So grasping at the wrong projected, a grasping at the wrong projection, and wrong projection itself makes us suffer. What is grasping? When we meet someone, I'll give you an example, the same one. When we meet someone and we feel they should be this way, and we build all our hopes, that's grasping, on the way we think they should be. And when that person doesn't fulfill what we think they should be with our lack of wisdom, then they are bad, they are evil, they are negative, they are not good. I must fight them, I must get revenge, I must get them back. So it is actually not them if we use our wisdom. It is not them. It is our wrong perception and our lack of wisdom to perceive. And the lack of wisdom to perceive and wrong perception itself is impermanent, which means it can be removed, because these two factors are based on other conditions to survive. Therefore, there is an end to suffering. Therefore, logically, since those very perceptions are impermanent, that gives us an implication clearly that there is eradication or annihilation or destruction of those actual causes that bring us unhappiness. So think about it. All our sufferings arise from wrong perception, wrong projection of everything around us. From morning to night, we have wrong projection. That wrong projection can come from conditioning. That wrong projection can come from stubbornness, laziness, and selfish attitude. Ego, selfish attitude. Ego is the one that makes us basically have wrong projection. And then having that wrong projection and acting out on that wrong projection brings the unhappiness. Please think about it. To reiterate this very important and crucial point, this realization. It is our wrong projection of objects, living and non-living, and acting out its projections that we suffer. So you check everything in your life. how much we have done that. In fact, everything, 24 hours from the time we were born up to now, and the acts we have done are based on our projections. Some of them wrong, some of them correct. Now you think carefully. So the minute we stop this, or train in stopping this, the sufferings start to become less. The problems may remain the same, but you suffer less, and that's the point. And when you suffer less, you have clarity of mind, and therefore the ability to solve it. That's the whole point. So when you practice Dharma and you have a wrong projected expectation, your problem should be solved immediately now. That's very demanding of the Buddhas. And not that the Buddhas are not going to acquiesce or agree to your demands. So, think. All of the problems and difficulties arise from that. And the more we add on to the projections, the more we reinforce it, recondition it, and recondition it again and again and again, our sufferings increase. Even if we get well, even if we get 500,000 cars, money, houses, fame, our sufferings become even more intense to the point of suicide, to the point of going berserk and crazy. So that's why people who have many things suffer greatly. People who don't have many things suffer greatly. Either way you suffer, because the cause of the suffering is present and there. Think about it. So how can you go to the Buddhas, go to Jesus Christ, go to God, and pray constantly that your suffering cease when you do not lift one finger to actually remove the cause of the suffering? Think about it. So, when we realize that point and we start acting in ways that start cutting out conditioning and projection and wrong view, wrong projection, you will see your sufferings become less, even if you have many problems to endure. And that's how great masters, great Dharma practitioners are always happy, always willing, always enthusiastic, always ever ready to help others, even though they may have hundreds of people criticizing them, hating them. They endure many difficulties, many problems, financial, physical, health, environmental, social. They may go through many different types of sufferings and problems, yet they will go on, teach, practice, help, and never lose their enthusiastic perseverance because they have realized that point. That's the reason, because they have realized that point. Until you realize that point, you are in samsara, your own samsara. Samsara is not a wheel on the wall that you get reborn from there to there. We all have our own samsara. And that is the crucial realization to cut it. Samsara is another word, suffering. Think about it. So, to support that growth, to support that meditation, to support that realization, to support that understanding, we must continuously collect merits to support that. So when we say change our luck, that's the luck we should change. So that's why we make offerings to the 3 jewels. We serve our gurus. We study the Dharma. We meditate. We chant. We recite mantras. Do retreats. Go on pilgrimages. Offer incense. Offer jasik. Serve the Sangha. Do charity works, etc., etc., etc. That's the reason to collect merits, to be able to support the growth of those realizations. When you can support the growth of those realizations, your sufferings lessen and eventually stop. That's why the purification of negative karma and the collection of positive karma is so crucial and important in our practice. We may think making offerings on our altar, cleaning, doing our prayers is so menial and so small, and it's not real Dharma practice. Wrong view. Anything done in relation to the enlightened being creates extremely powerful propensity. How much we put into it is how much we will get back. Buddha Shakyamuni himself, when asked by one of his disciples, Kungawa, When the Buddha is alive and when the Buddha is present, making offerings to the three jewels in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni, we collect great amount of merit and we are able to destroy vast amounts of negative karma. When the Buddha is not physically here anymore, what shall we do? Then the Buddha replied, my 4 disciples. That relates to a class of disciples. My 4 types of disciples. When I am not around, making offerings to an image in the likeness of myself and believing it is me will be equal to making offerings to me in person and directly. So when we have holy images of Buddhas and put beautiful ornaments, put gold and make beautiful offerings and make a place for them and make an effort for them, it is the same as having the actual living Buddhas themselves in your presence. And any actions that you do within their presence is the same as the amount of merit you will collect if you actually did it to them in person. And that is a direct quote from Buddha Shakyamuni himself, not one of his disciples, not an Indian pandit, not a Tibetan guru or master. That is from Buddha Shakyamuni himself. So we should be ever persevering in making offerings, maintaining our altar, making prostrations, making mandala, vajrasattva, doing our meditational deities, studying up on the Dharma, meditating, practicing, and most important, applying it in our daily lives. In fact, we should be ever persevering because that will become the root cause for cutting out suffering. So we should contemplate. We should not be like a cup with holes. We hear it, we say, yes, it's correct, pray. We go home, we go back to the same thing day after day, month after month, year after year with no improvements and some danger of degeneration. So we should be like a cup without the holes and retain it. Think about it, contemplate on it, study it, and especially collect merits to support it. If we don't, we can be in Dharma for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We will never change, we will never transform. In fact, the ego becomes bigger. I'm a senior Dharma practitioner. You should listen to me. You can think that. I'm a senior Dharma practitioner. I've met 20 Rinpoches. I'm a senior Dharma practitioner. I've done 50 rainy season retreats. Wonderful. But you're still going to hell. You're still suffering. Wonderful. Let me see the physical results. No offense. The result should be obvious. A changing and transformation of your character. So let's not leave the Dharma talk despondent. We should leave the Dharma talk happy that we have some kind of realization and apply and try to make a change in our lives and transform. Now, this moment, today, from today on, and maintain it by study, practice, and the relationship with our gurus, if we have one. We should maintain it. And by that constant nurturing, like a small child, it will grow into adulthood, able to protect and watch itself, able to take care of itself. Like that, definitely these realizations will come to the point where they are irreversible, where without effort, they remain steady and constant. Effortless enthusiasm, effortless patience, effortless bodhicitta, effortless compassion, effortless giving. It will become effortless. On that basis, all phenomena are empty of true existence. Therefore, all phenomena are free or free of inherent existence, not existing on its own right. It is existing on causes. Since it is existing on causes, once we cut the causes, it cannot exist anymore. When it does not exist, in the case of delusions, negative mind, we can stop it. Check ourselves out. How many years have we been doing Dharma? How many gurus have we chased? How many Rinpoches, how many divinations, how many things have we done? Why are we not transforming? Because the very motive might have been wrong, and along with that, wrong projection, and a lack of merits. Very clear. very concise, very logical.